My name is David Harrison Grice. Welcome to the Grice Report, your unfiltered daily voice for truth. So we have a lot going on right now, and I mean a lot going on. So today we saw some fire from Governor Pritzker of Illinois. I watched that press conference, and you're going to be watching a clip of it in a little while. So do stay tuned for that because he really brought the fire today. But the highlight I really want to start off with is going to be the Boston Music Festival from yesterday. So there was a Boston Music Festival. Apparently, it's the first one they've had on Labor Day, and it was completely beautiful in the turnout, and not just the beautiful turnout, but we also had a beautiful speech. So this is a quote I'm going to be reading directly from my notes from Governor Maura Healey, and then you're going to be seeing a clip of her as well. So she is the governor of Massachusetts, which is where Boston is located. She said, "What we need from the Trump administration is funding for cops, funding for community policing, and funding for law enforcement." This seems to be a common theme, as you'll hear later on from Governor Pritzker. But more importantly, I want you to actually hear what she has to say in her own words and just how relevant it is. And I'm not going to comment on it. I'm just going to let it sit with you.
Freedom and democracy. It was all born here, baby. And we celebrate that 250 years ago. And you know what it took to get that? It took a revolution. It took people, common people, coming together to stand up to powerful interests.
So just take that in. The historic moment that the governor of Massachusetts has to say something like that to wake people up. So if you like what you're hearing tonight, please remember to like, subscribe, and down here we have an email address, thegricereport@gmail.com. Again, that's thegricereport@gmail.com. Please send us any tips, leads, story requests, photographs, videos, and especially if you have any personal experiences with the ICE Gestapo, you're really interested in hearing about that and learning a little bit more about their tactics so we can get the word out there to protect people. So now, if you really want to help us as well, get the word out, please do subscribe. Subscribing will go a long way in actually helping us to grow as a channel and helping get our content out to more people, because I'm trying to bring you stories that are really fresh and relevant. So let's continue. So next thing I want to talk about, like I said before, is Governor Pritzker of Illinois. He gave a fire speech today, and if you've been tuning in already, you know I've been following this whole developing situation in Chicago. So I want to let Governor Pritzker say in his own words just how he feels about all of this.
I find this extraordinarily strange, as Chicago does not want troops on our streets. I also have experience asking the president for assistance, just to have the rug pulled out from underneath me when execution meets reality. I refuse to play a reality game show with Donald Trump again. What I want are the federal dollars that have been promised to Illinois and Chicago for violence prevention programs that have proven to work. That is money that Illinois taxpayers send to the federal government, and it's an insult to any and every citizen to suggest that any governor should have to beg the president of any political party for resources owed their people.
So now you've heard from not one, but two Democratic governors in the same segment that are going to be talking about the same things. What are we hitting upon? Well, we're seeing a pattern. We're seeing a thread develop, right? Maybe if we invest a little more in our communities and a little more in our people, rather than investing in the ICE Gestapo and taking money away from these programs, we might actually see a reduction in crime. I would almost wager to bet that the revocation of these monies would actually potentially be increasing crime due to the lack of funds for crime-fighting efforts. But I don't have the data on that just yet. This is speculation. I will be following up, though. The final thing I want to talk about is that even with all this going on, Judge Charles Breyer in San Francisco has ruled that Trump did violate the Posse Comitatus Act in Los Angeles in June during the No Kings protests, because he actually brought in the National Guard and the military, including the Marines, to do law enforcement work. Now, you say, well, they are armed military. Why shouldn't they do law enforcement? Well, here's why. They don't understand law enforcement. They're not taught law enforcement, and they're not trained in law enforcement. Civilian law enforcement, where you're working with the civilian population and you have like a police department, they are going to be trained in the local laws and statutes and all these different things that you're not going to know. They also have procedure, and some of that procedure might involve gathering evidence in an investigation. And if you're not keeping chain of custody and all the rest of the things that are required for security of information, then you're going to be getting these cases thrown out in court because you're making arrests based upon speculation, and you might not even have enough to make that arrest, but they're going to do it anyway because they're military. So we're going to keep our eye on whether or not Trump actually follows the letter of the law here, which we don't think he's going to do. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining the resistance. My name is David Harrison Grice, and have a great night.